Hey everybody, proud of your freedom. Greg Holland here. We are in Hearne, Texas, open carry, Texas, and constitutional rally, a pro Second Amendment and just pro Constitution rally. I'm going to try to get the way the wind is not blowing into our faces here, but we are deep in the city, Hearne, Texas. So we're expecting a good turnout here. So far, we've probably got, I don't know, probably about 20, 25 people here so far for this rally. It starts here in a little bit. Hey, Shayna, how are you? Good to see you. We got people coming in, people just calling it. It's a hard park to find, so if anybody's wanting to come out here and try to find it, you come into Hearne, you go up over the railroad trellis, and you take a left at the Tejo Market, and that is Norwood Street. You come down Norwood Street probably about a half mile and you will see us on the right-hand side. You'll see all the flags, Open Carry Texas. You'll see all the Betsy Ross flags. You'll see the American flags. And you'll see us all out here exercising our legs, our hearts because it's so dang hot, and our Second Amendment. So it's been planned for a little while. This is not gotta say it's not an Open Carry Texas event, but we do like to support all of our brothers and sisters that support the Constitution. So, and if you give me just a second, I'm gonna go share this on Facebook real quick. And if you don't mind, go subscribe. If you haven't already hit the little bell for Open Carry Texas, hit the bell and subscribe. Also, go to Proud of Your Freedom. That is my page. I need to get more subscribers. I think I've got maybe 80 or 100 subscribers. I need to get up to the 1,000 mark so I can start live streaming some of these rallies and whatnot. So that'll just help me out tremendously. I really appreciate you guys. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna share this on our Facebook page. So just stand by real quick, guys. And it's gonna blank out for just a second. So hang with me. The site again is Eastside Park in Hearne. It is on Norwood Street. It is not on Riley Street. And we are in Hearne. So let me hit this share once again. Hang on, guys. Thank you, guys. And I will try to keep up with comments here. My channel is Proud of Your Freedom.
People in San Antonio. How many people do we have here from Dallas? What's better showing from Dallas? How many people from Houston? And we go to Moscow on the continent. Right side of the
Woo!
Okay, the rest of you are really missing out. I hope we will find the Dr. Wayne show on YouTube and subscribe to that. It's free. And I archive it every day. The live show is on there at the Voice Radio from 1 to 3 every day. And occasionally, Facebook lets me on.
And Scott just showed up. He's coming over here in just a second.
I want to welcome my friend Fred Snyder, who is actually the main guy behind this event. I just have to be the voice. Fred? Check. Yeah, I'm Fred Schneider, National Administrator with Overpasses for America. How many of you know, or do you need to know? Millions of views. And the founder was supposed to be here today, but he's not feeling too hot. So, but I'm representing, But I just want to thank you all for being here.
Because our side doesn't show up. Am I right or wrong?
That's
Our
right.
side doesn't show up. This is how come we're losing. It's because the left sits there and says, hey, we're going to have a rally. They get 2,000 people to show up. We say, let's have a rally. We get 25, 30 to show up. There's the problem. We can't get people involved. And our motto is stand up, speak out, and get involved. We've been doing this for 6 years. We've done over 12,000 rallies in those 6 years. And we're still at it. We've been handicapped. Our head's been cut off. Our legs have been chopped out from under us. But we're still doing it. You know? We are going to have some speakers. I'm going to speak first. And we're going to talk about the Constitution. I'm going to talk about the First Amendment. One of the OTC, Tom, is going to, where is he? There he is. He's going to talk about the Second Amendment. Where's Tom at? Oh, Tom's going to talk about the Constitution. Doc is going to talk about the Constitution. Anybody else wants to talk about the Constitution? Let me know. You're after Doc.
I would like to get Andy to come up here before we have the opening prayer and blow the shofar, please.
Get it, Grunt.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming out. So my name is Andy Valdez. I am a Marine veteran, served from 88 to 92 here at Desert Storm, Desert Shield. And like you know, we're the tip of the spear, you know, and I was talking to Doc on the way up here, when you're the tip of the spear, you're going to poke holes in something. So the mere fact that you're here, you're exposing liberty to others. We are going to shoot videos, we're doing live streams now. And so Doc has asked me to blow the shofar, and as a watchman, as a veteran, as someone who sees what's going on in our country, we're involved in the media, we're involved with people like the right side of the mic and other spokespeople, people that really support what you're doing, right? So we hear things from other people that can't be here for whatever reason because of jobs and family or whatnot. But the Lord has who He has here, and that's all that really matters for now. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the shofar real quick. It is actually a 6,000-year-old technology that God invented. He gave it to the Jews 6,000 years ago, and back then they didn't have Instagram, they didn't have Facebook or Twitter, they had a shofar. And so on the battlefield, they had to be able to communicate from point to point, you know, that kind of thing, but also to alert and to call the battle stations. So some of the blows I'm going to blow today are some of the traditional blows. The one that goes, I'm going to blow. That is really a call to battle stations and also for the attack, if you will. One of the longer blows is more of a reference to God, recognizing that we have God-given rights. We're going to talk about the Constitution today, but a lot of our Constitution is based on Judeo-Christian principles. So the red, white, and blue symbolizes a lot of things that are tied to Jewish heritage. And our Lord and Savior didn't want us armed. You go back all the way to Exodus. When the slaves left Pharaoh, some of the slaves actually left with arms. And so that was God telling the world system that His people were going to be armed. And so for the last 2,000 years, I'm so thankful that we do have liberty to spot for. And we're not a violent people. We are people that are protectors. We're defenders. There's a difference, right, from being tyrannical and being abusers of that authority, if you will. So I'm going to show us the blow the shofar to kick off this event. And basically, I hope you enjoy some of the sound. Whenever you really know what's going to come out of it, the horn is kind of unruly, but you know the blowing of it is kind of a learned skill, if you will. So with that being said.
Right.
Mighty God, there is no other God like you, neither is there any beside thee. Yeshua is your name, and Moses is your prophet. Hear, O Texas, the Lord our God is one Lord. I want to thank you, Father God, for blessing us with the opportunity to be here today, to be brothers and sisters, to stand up for what is right, and to exercise our 11th commandment, which you gave us in Luke 22 and 36. If you do not have a sword, sell your garment and buy one. And I thank you, Jesus, for being here with us today. I ask you to bless the remainder of the event. And we are going to honor you. We're going to honor our country. And we're going to stand up for what we believe. In your name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Pledge of Allegiance.
I put the wrong flag here,
No, that's perfect.
but it'll work.
I kind of like it.
All right? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Every day on my page, that's on my page. First thing, because it's important.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, soon to be one nation, under God, one and indivisible. I am a Texas nationalist. I'll just be straight with you and let you know that right now. I think Texas would be better off on our own, and we could be a far better ally to the United States of America as an independent nation.
I don't know the Texas thing. I've heard it about a half a dozen times. I'm not from Texas, but I am now. And I always
Amen.
tell people when I come back to Texas, it's mine.
That's right.
It's mine.
That's right.
No better place to be than in Texas. I'm telling you right now, for freedom, for liberty, this is the place. And the left communists are trying to take it over so they can make it into San Francisco or an LA or New York. And I say, no, who's with me?
No, yeah. No LA.
Now I want to talk about the First Amendment to the Constitution, which affects us all. It's under attack. Our first right is to religion. Religion is under attack in this country.
It is.
Unless you bow to somebody else, you know? And I don't want to get into names of Islam or Satanists, but I just did, so, it's like, those religions, I don't think are covered under the First Amendment, even though everybody says they are. But, you can't go and kill your daughter. You're going to go to jail. That's called murder. Religion in this country is needed. It's our guiding light. God sits there and takes us from one place to another, and he makes it so we can enjoy life in his name. Secondly, freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is under attack. Facebook, anybody on Facebook? I'm sure if you're not in jail, and what did you say that got you in jail? Just the truth. And the truth offends them because they are offended by the truth. And if you went out into Berkeley, California right now and said, hey, we got flags, you're going to be attacked. And the police aren't going to do a darn thing. Same thing in Portland. The cops stand down. Yeah, I am not a cop, but I know lots of them. And they are like, how can those officers stand down and not defend the Constitution? Because they were told not to. Well, you can disobey an unconstitutional law.
Amen.
But they don't do it, so what are you going to do, right? Freedom of the press. Anybody have any confidence in the mainstream press?
Fake news.
You got it, baby. Fake news. I mean, they haven't said the truth in a decade. They really haven't. And a lot of people say, well, I watch Fox. Fox lies too. Don't kid yourself.
Absolutely.
You have to seek out the truth because nobody's giving it to you. Doc brings you the truth. I'll bring you the truth. you know? Now, right now, we are gathering. We are gathering under the Constitution, peacefully. We may be armed, some of us, but that's next after I'm done. Okay, and we still have the right to redress our grievances with government if they'll listen, because they don't listen. We have an election coming up next year, and I'm going to ask, who here supports Donald Trump? Okay? Would you vote for whoever the clown car is going to put up? No. No.
Support the
But
Constitution.
we have a chance here, because I feel that Donald Trump is going to win in a landslide. We have a chance here to get rid of some communist Democrats and some rhinos too. And it's time to get rid of them all and put in new people who read the Constitution, love the American flag, and are American patriots. They need to be in office, and the country will improve immediately. If we get rid of the Pelosi's and the McConnells and the Schumers and yeah, you know what I mean. There's just so many of them, and it's a long list. And you got the squad. You know, it's like these people need to be thrown out of office, and we can do it next year. Of course, none of them are around here, so we can't do it here. But we got to help people here get rid of rhinos and communist Democrats. And I cannot stress to you enough how important it is. If you don't have somebody good running in your district, find someone that's good, who's a patriot, who loves the flag, who loves the Constitution, and tell him he must run, and you will help him. And we can change things, folks, because when Donald Trump wins next year in a landslide, he's going to be taking a lot of people along with him on his coattails. And this is how come the Democrats are freaking out, because they know it's coming. So let's make it come, let's make them cry. Because they need to be taken out. They really do. And you know, I don't know if we want to record this, but if somebody by accidentally, shot a couple of Democrats, I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't miss them either. We need good people to run this country. This is the best country in the world. There is no country that you could do what we're doing right now other than right here. Tell me, where else can we do this? Walk around with guns, talk against the government, talk against our leaders. You can't do that anywhere else. You get thrown in jail. There's no other place but here. So we've got to sit there and secure our own land, our own country, for our own people. We need to secure the border. We need to take people who are here illegally. We need to deport them. There's plenty of Democrats we need to deport with. I mean, how many of you right now would love to trade 5 for 1? We'll trade you 5 crying snowflakes for 1 Hong Kong guy carrying American flag.
Amen.
Why are they doing that? Because they know we are the freedom in the world. Not just here, in the world. I'm from Illinois, the communist state of Illinois. They just raised 54 taxes. People are leaving left and right. And I tell my friends, get the hell out before you won't be able to. And they stay. Well, we're going to fight. What are you going to fight? It's lost cause. It really is lost there. Doc, from talking to Babette. Babette is on his show every now and then. Babette is one of the hardest fighters I know, a Republican, conservative black woman in Chicago. She is called every nasty name in the book. She's running for a county job next year. And I hope to God she wins, because I know she'll do it to have a good job, because she's a damn good person. And this is what I mean. Good people, we need to get them in office so we can sit there and have good people representing us. Who's in charge?
We are.
We are. They think they are. It's us that's in charge. And people forget that. There's so many things that they forget. They forget that there's this little piece of paper that was signed on Tuesday in 1789 called the Constitution. And that Constitution is to protect us from the government, not the government over us. They are not our overlords, they are our employees. And they need to know it, and we need to show it to them that they are the employees. And the best way to do it is get rid. I mean, it's as simple as that. Doc, in 2016, I was on the East Lawn, and what did I say? I don't want to talk about presidential. There were 511,000 people up for election. Well, guess what? There's going to be 511,000 people up for election next year. Even the dog catcher in Vermont. Okay? That's where it makes or breaks. Your city, your county, your state. In Texas, it's been turning a little purple. No, we want it to stay red, white, and blue, not purple or blue, or even just red. Because it's good to have discourse, but you gotta have something to say first, and the other side just doesn't have anything to say that I want us to. Anybody watch the debate the other night? I was at work, I call it the clown car, part 3. I mean, I could only handle it for an hour and 10 minutes, and I was like, God, I can't watch this anymore. I just would rather see all these Obama go off. I mean, they aren't offering us anything but higher taxes, more government regulation, more intrusion into our lives, and it's got to stop. And it only stops if we right here take our message out to them out there, and you infest one person with the message who gives it to two, who gives it to two, who gives it to two. Remember that old commercial? Tell 2 people who tell 2 people who tell 2 people. That's where we're at. We've got to get these. And I'm glad that we have young people here, but the colleges and the schools are indoctrination centers, and they got to go. I don't see any of these professors at these big colleges making $150,000 a year talking about socialism, spreading the wealth. Hey man, just take $10,000 and give it 140 away. None of them do it, but they're telling you to. So, all I can say is thank you for being here, thank you for coming, and we're going to have a great day. We're going to end up next year with a new Congress, is all we can hope, is that we get rid of all of these jerks and put in good, sound American patriots.
Amen.
Thank you, Fred Snyder, Overpass for America. Did a great job. Got a few newcomers here. I recognize some of them. Drove up from Houston. And once again, I'm glad to have all of you here today as we stand up for what is right, America. Now, Open Carry Texas, of which I'm a dues paying member, C.J. Grisham was supposed to be here today, but was unable to. I'd just like to say a couple of words. I know that C.J. was very upset with some of the things that he'd heard Donald Trump say, and I just want you to know there's a lot of people that are upset with the things that Donald Trump says, and most of them are lefty liberals. I do want you to know this. He's a very smart man. He is not going to curtail our Second Amendment rights. You can trust me on that. Watch it. You'll see that I'm telling the truth. If you haven't read his book, The Art of the Deal, you probably should so that you know how he operates. But you don't have to worry about Donald Trump. I'll tell you who you might consider worrying about. Greg Abbott, Dan Patrick, Danny Boy. Those are some people you might consider worrying about right here. I want to bring up my good friend Tommy Attaway from Dallas. He is the author of 2 fine books, We Defy and Independence. Everyone out there who's actually read We Defy, would you hold up your hands, please? Oh, you guys are missing out. If you did not get your copy of We Defy on Amazon before you leave here today, you're not my friend, okay? Go to Amazon before you leave here today, get your copy of We Defy, and if you'd have brought it today, he would have signed it.
Or I'll make you a better deal. I have a few copies out in the car at $10.
Whoa!
There you go.
And signed. and Independence, the sequel to We Defy, and by Thanksgiving, I have it on good authority, no later than Christmas, the sequel to Independence will be out.
Well, my publisher got taken over by Amazon, and that's a bad thing.
Uh-oh. Tommy Attaway, folks.
All right.
Thank you. Our Constitution is the world's oldest experiment in self-government. Why do I say oldest and why do I say experiment? In the entire world, there are only 4 nations which have not been taken over and occupied by a foreign power at some point in their history. Can anybody name the 4?
Repeat what you said.
In the history of the world, there are only 4 nations that have not at some point been occupied or taken over by a foreign power. Who are they? Correct? United States, Russia? No, China's been taken over. Sweden's been taken over. Japan? Come on.
Mexico?
We occupied Mexico from 1846 to 1848. Correct, United Kingdom. Fourth one, small country, 7.5 million people, hangs out in the middle of Europe, Switzerland. But all 4 of those countries have had civil wars. Okay? So our Constitution is actually the oldest because Switzerland's Constitution dates from 1848 as a result of its civil war. The United Kingdom doesn't have a constitution. The closest thing it has to a constitution is the English Bill of Rights, which are a result of the Glorious Revolution, where James II was deposed and William and Mary were brought to the throne on the condition that they accepted the Parliament of the United Kingdom can pass any law it wants, no restrictions whatsoever. Okay? And obviously, okay, we know the story of Russia, as a result of its civil war, the Soviet Union and its collapse. So its constitution can't possibly be the oldest. So earlier this week, when we celebrated 232 years the adoption of our Constitution, it is the world's oldest Constitution in effect. And of course, we're here because whether or not it's still in effect is a subject of debate. That's why I call it an experiment in self-government. The founders knew that the document that they had created was not the end-all, be-all. And they knew that whether or not it was going to persevere and carry on depended on a subject we're going to hear more about. Because the word necessary we only find in one place in our entire Constitution. What's necessary for the security of a free state. Correct. So of course, even our Constitution is our second attempt. The first being the Articles of Confederation adopted by the Continental Congress in 1776. It had its weaknesses, which led to Virginia to call a Convention of the States in 1787 for the purpose of writing a new federal constitution. And of course, one of the things that we look at is how our history has been revised and corrected by all of the communists who have come into our academic environment in the 20th century. So one of their themes is the Constitution is a power play created by certain self-interested parties in the United States who wanted to cement their power. And as proof of this, they used the act by the Continental First Congress when they acknowledged the Constitutional Convention to revise and correct the Articles of Confederation. But the point is that that convention was not called by Congress to do so. 11 of the 13 states participated in the Constitutional Convention. Rhode Island did not participate. The delegation from New York had permission from the legislature of New York only to consider revisions and corrections to the Articles of Confederation. So they only observed the debate and did not participate in the writing of the Constitution. The Constitution is then presented to most to which the Federalists reply, no, nothing to worry about here. The powers of the federal government, and the anti-federalists say, would you mind writing that down? And that ultimately comes to the idea of our Bill of Rights in order to more define in Amendments 9 and 10 what those federal powers were to be, and more importantly, in what are now Amendments 1 through 8, to articulate those fundamental liberties reserved to the people that no. And of course, we have debate back and forth on, did those amendments really apply to the states or not, or to the federal government only? Fortunately, we have the answer from one of the founders, a man named William Rawle, who was a representative from Pennsylvania, voted for the Constitution, was George Washington's first pick to be the first Attorney General of the United States, and he said, not interested. Then George Washington says, well, if you won't be the Attorney General, will you be the U.S. Attorney for Philadelphia? And since he lived in Philadelphia, he said, well, okay. Now this was very important because at this point, Washington, D.C. has not been built yet. And the federal government sits in Philadelphia. Okay? So when we get the early cases that are fleshing out the federal court system, federal law, how the federal government is going to act and interpret the Constitution, William Rawle is the government's attorney. He writes a book called View of the Constitution. First edition published in 1825, late in his life. Second edition comes out 1829. It is a fascinating work, and I earnestly recommend it to your consideration. Because in there, he addresses several points that actually are very important to us today, that have actually been points of public debate. And so when someone asks, well, what did the founders think? Well, I know, because he told us. So, let's take a couple of examples. Does the Bill of Rights apply to the states? He says, yes. The Bill of Rights properly finds its place in the federal Constitution where it binds all and secures all. No government anywhere within the territorial limits of the United States may infringe upon these rights. As we say, that's a clear statement. And as we say in the history business, this is a primary source. Someone who was there at the time, aware of the point under debate and discussion, and gives the view as to what prevailed. Another question, is succession legal? May a state leave the United States? He says yes. Interesting. So that is a power reserved to a state. The states join the Federation voluntarily. They may leave voluntarily. Interesting question on immigration. Who decides who can come into the United States? The federal government only has the power to restrict immigration. The federal government is limited to saying who may not come into the United States. Each state individually determines who to become a resident of that state. But that permission is valid only for that state. To be able to move from one state to another is a privilege reserved to United States citizens. Otherwise, one state would be making itself superior to another state by making an act that would bind another state. So I hope just these few points have intrigued you on why his book and what he had to say is worthy of consideration. Because if you want to know what the founders thought when they adopted the Constitution, there it is. So, as we know, the Constitution is ultimately ratified by the Ninth State on September 10th, 1787. As usual, Rhode Island is the last to accede to anything, and they joined the United States 30 days before the tariffs were set to be enacted upon them that would tax all of their imports into the other 12 states. Now, you may say that was, well, a little bit under duress, but nonetheless, they decided to join. And of course, an interesting thing for those interested in constitutions and the history of these governments, Rhode Island did not write a state constitution for itself until after the War of 1812 in 1820. They operated under their colonial charter. So one of the arguments that, well, we really didn't need a Second Amendment that applied to the states because all of the states recognized your right to keep and bear arms. Well, no, they didn't. Actually, only 9 of the 13 had something that is sort of like what we have an amendment to the Constitution today. So again, another reason for that argument as to why the Bill of Rights is universal throughout the United States and was always designed to be so, until the Supreme Court said otherwise in 1833. So again, there are a lot of unique things in our Constitution. Obviously, the idea that we have branches of government, some representing geographical areas, others representing people, others charged with the task of keeping everybody else straight, and an executive that is supposed to well and faithfully carry out the laws of the land and support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Now, many of the folks here today have been in one or more components of our armed services, and I'd like to point out an important difference between what happens to you when you enlist or if you accept a commission as an officer in the armed forces of the United States. When you enlist, okay, you swear that you're going to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, and that you're going to obey the lawful orders of the President and those other officers appointed over you according to law or regulation. Okay. My officer's oath was different. I promised that I would preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign or domestic, bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and well and faithfully execute the duties of the office upon which I was about to enter. Nothing in there about obeying the orders of the President. My oath is solely to the Constitution. And so the presumption is that every order transmitted on the is that, who's the President doesn't matter. Order, we are bound to disobey it and institution. So, other countries, their military, not under some other governing document. So there are many unique features to our Constitution, that just being one of them. Another is the idea of shared power. For example, we're all familiar with the militia clause in the Constitution, that the federal government, namely Congress, may use the militia for three purposes: repel invasions, suppress insurrections, and execute the laws of the Union. This is why the National Guard was created, because the National Guard was created under the other authority of Congress to raise and support armies. So the National Guard can be called up at any time for any purpose. But the militia is reserved to the states. In fact, the officers of the militia can only be appointed by the state. Another reason why the National Guard is constitutionally disqualified from being a militia. Guard officers have federal commissions. So, as if we go through that Constitution, line by line, clause by clause, what we see is a concept of a national government that is essentially built to conduct foreign relations, protect the borders of the country, and not much else. The day-to-day life existence is to be governed by your state and local governments, and as Thomas Jefferson said in his second inaugural address, what farmer, what mechanic ever sees a tax gatherer of the United States? All of our internal taxes have been discontinued, and if they had some merit, they could be adopted by a state. Were we there today? But this is, again, one of the reasons why we are gathered here today, which is that the idea, the principles in the Constitution we submit are timeless, eternal, and those things that bind us together as a people. When we have fellow citizens who have a very different view, that of the so-called living Constitution, in which government is free to take care of situations as they may arise, as those elected to office may deem fit to do so, subject to only those limitations imposed upon them by the Supreme Court if they choose to obey it. We have what our traditions, our culture, and our founders expressly rejected: an arbitrary, limitless government, very hallmark of tyranny. And of course, and as our ancestors here in Texas on March the 2nd, 1836 declared, when as part of the Declaration of Independence creating the Republic of Texas, one of their grievances against the Mexican government was that it demanded up our arms, essential to our defense, the rightful property of free men, and formidable to tyrannical governments only. So we are here to preserve this tradition, to maintain this tradition, to pass this tradition on to our posterity, that this experiment in self-government may continue, may live, may grow and prosper. And it is our duty to preserve, protect, and defend that Constitution against all enemies, foreign or domestic. Thank you.
You know, I wanted to live stream that, and I just got told I can't live stream until November 9th. And I've only live streamed once in 3 months. So we are living under tyranny, folks. We are. Tom, where you at? Thomas Payne? Oh,
Greg,
you're filming.
you can hold that for me.
Now we're going to hear about a second amendment.
Yeah, my favorite. That's second.
How's everybody doing? That's it.
Hoorah!
So we hear a common theme every few years with politicians. They promise us this, they promise us that. They're not going to do this, they're not going to do that. But what do we get
Nothing.
most of the time? We get hollow promises. We've got this guy in here now. If you guys watched the debate the other night, Arvo, Robert Francis O'Rourke, who said, hell yes, I'm coming to take your AR-15. Hell yes, Andy, I'm taking your AK-47. They can come try to take whatever they want. But I know this, the people that are standing in this pavilion right here, I know what we're going to say to any infringement on our Second Amendment, whether that be brass knuckles or that take it, and the pander to do something. And all it is hollow promises. Look, I don't see a D or an R past anybody's name anymore. I wait and I see what they're going to do. I don't trust any politician. I want to see and hear what they're going to do. They tell me one thing, I'm going to expect them to do the other. I've seen disarmament happen from the federal government level. And if anybody's heard my story, when I worked for the federal government, for the Department of Veterans Affairs, they know my story, and the reason why I left. I've seen it firsthand. I was asked to disarm somebody, take away their Second Amendment rights, and I said, hell no. And it was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever had to do in my life. Because why? I had 3 young kids at home. So we're going to suspend his Second Amendment rights. Because he can't balance a checkbook, there's no way in hell he can manage one of these. Well, this guy lived on the side of a mountain in Alaska. He had to kill 4-legged animals that wanted to hurt him and hurt his family to survive. So examination, he had to take a snowmobile in to this exam. Okay. So when the VA comes back and they say, Greg, you gotta call this guy and tell him that he's getting ready to be put on the Brady anti-gun violence. That's kind of like being on the no-fly list, okay? So, who just took away your rights, appeal to them to have your rights restored. How the hell does that work? And good luck doing it and not coming out bankrupt. What I will say is this. Rallies that I come to, there were a lot here. Now this is I say we because I'm in this too. We're slackers. We say we're going to do something and we don't do it. Well, folks, I got some news for you. If we don't exercise this by reading and exercising our mind, exercise our legs and our muscles, if we don't exercise our rights, guess what? Gone tomorrow. So if people don't get off their ass and do something about it, the rights that you're thinking are really secure, and this goes to the people who are sitting at home and going to watch this later, your rights are about to be taken from you, and they're not going to be stolen from you. You're going to hand them over because you're not standing up. You can support one way or another. If some people can't be here, we understand that. You can support by sending letters to congressmen or senators. You can support organizations like Fred's for Open Carry Texas. Hell, you can give $2.23 to Open Carry Texas. You can contact Andy about that. You can contact Terry. you contact me. You contact Doc Green. Folks, we are in very serious times for the young people that are here. This may change in the hope to defend ourselves. We may be standing in line, not to buy ammo, but to beg for some soup, beg for some bread, for some food. Folks, wake up. As in David Ahmad, the Vice President of Open Carry, Texas says, wake the hell up. That's all I got.
Do we have official representation here today for Open Carry Texas? Anyone from Open Carry Texas that would like to come up and say a few words?
Well, I'm a board member of Open Carry, but
Well,
I just did.
you just said a few words, so we appreciate that.
Andy, get up there, man. Come on, you got it, baby.
Johnny, come on up here. His nom de plume, that's not his real name. I've been going to events with this guy for a great number of years, and he's usually dressed like this with an AR-15 slung over his back. Go ahead, go right ahead.
I'm not speaking for Open Carry Texas, but I would like to talk about something, if I get my phone to work. We were talking back in the back about paying attention to actually what Trump has actually done, and actually, actually picking the lesser of two evils has led us to this path. So what use was the road? I want to keep this short and simple. If any of y'all know about the AA-12 shotgun,
Yeah.
it was recently banned. It wasn't labeled as a destructive device like the street sweeper, it was outright banned. The bump stocks, who did we lose that under?
Yep.
Trump wrote a letter to the Supreme Court not to hear a case out of Kansas for suppression. Most of y'all believe in states' rights, but yet this isn't an issue. The National Reciprocity Act and the Hush Act, we were promised that. Where is it? The National Red Flag Law. I think y'all can all pretty much see what just happened to Briscoe King. And it can happen to him, it can happen to any one of them. But we don't have enough political clout to hide from it. The National Red Flag Law is being proposed. The magazine capacity law is being proposed. And the biggest one we have to pay attention to, just like the AA-12 setting a precedent for case law, is this loss of the Second Amendment for a misdemeanor as far as hate crime. If we allow one misdemeanor to become a loss of the Second Amendment, where does it stop there?
It won't.
Amen.
Anything that he just said, because it is true, we have to be vigilant. And one of the reasons why I support Donald Trump is because I do know that he's only been there for 3 years, and he has already done more for America in those 3 years than most people that I know. And we're being joined by Ray Myers. I'm glad to see him here today. But nonetheless, you guys got to be vigilant. You've got to be vigilant. The old idea of the camel getting its nose under the tent, it's a true thing. Once he gets his nose under the tent, he can flip that whole tent over pretty much in a hurry. So I do want to introduce my friend Ray Myers from the Kaufman County Tea Party. He is a true patriot, and he's one of those guys that we actually went up to Wisconsin, and we worked to make sure that Donald Trump got elected instead of the witch queen. And we were successful. Ray Myers, Kaufman County Tea Party.
You're up, baby.
I've never known you to have a loss for words. Hey, good to see everybody out here today. Thank you so much for inviting me, Doc. I appreciate it. Golly, how do you start? In fighting our Second Amendment. It's crazy. and I got a well-known activist in the state of Texas that just been to a rally out in West Texas, and she said it was a huge rally out there for a gentleman by the name of Dick Salisbury, who is a great donor for the Republican Party of Texas. And she said the place was packed, and she said, you know, she's talking specifically about the lieutenant governor. And she said, Ray, if there's any indication that what I'm seeing today, the lieutenant governor's toast. Now, 5 months, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 3 weeks ago, I don't believe I'd have said that. But boy, right now, I don't know. He's opened his mouth and he didn't shoot his foot off, he shot his leg off. So, anyway, he's been messing up really bad. And guys, we need to be very, very vigilant about that. Let me mention to you this. I don't know how many of you, I mean, I'm hoping that the word got out, Don, so we can formulate a plan. And the most important thing in anything that you do, as far as the plan is what we're working for to tackle us through what's called the Mighty Texas Strike Force, and they need a battleground state. And it was teeter-tottering, you know, it was really, really close, so they had done the polls and so forth. They contacted me, I'm a member of the Mighty Texas Strike Force, and the Mighty American Strike Force, and have been all over the country, been in Wisconsin.
Guys, make no mistake, Donald Trump has done more, and this is not my opinion, more to hurt the Second Amendment than Barack Obama ever did. And that's just a provable fact, and I can put that up against anybody in their opinion. Also talking about the silencer restriction, just like what Joe Walker got up there and talked about, as the guy in the kilt. We've got to be very, very careful. And just like what I got up there and talked about, we've got to be very, very careful about this. Because if we don't stand up for it now, we are really close to losing a lot of our Second Amendment rights. And we need people like you that actually supports and defends the Second Amendment. Me personally, I don't care for the NRA. I like Gun Owners of America. I like what Rachel Malone's doing with GOA of Texas. That's just one promised us that he bought the most ammunition. And I've still got a lot of that ammo. I wish Donald Trump would start doing exactly what he's going to do. And all he has to do is leave the Second Amendment alone. He didn't have to do anything with bump stocks. Bump stock is a piece of plastic. It's not a machine gun. It's not a firearm. It's a device. So you guys think about that. I'm going to go back over.
Walked out of that place knowing that Donald Trump had a chance in Wisconsin. If we hadn't have done that, it's okay. They're paying for our transportation, everything. We're going back. Guys, to be a part of the convention somewhere in Hearne or wherever you are in your whatever resolution you might want to take to the precinct convention, you take that. That's where the platform starts. That's how it's built. Your resolution, whatever you want, if it's gun control, not gun control, but the Second Amendment, our kind of gun control. Yeah, Second Amendment, or if it's right to life, or if it's voting integrity, those things you need to take over there. Whatever you want on that platform, you take it over there and submit it. And then you're automatically, in most cases, you're automatically elected, if you go to that precinct convention, to go to your county convention. Right. Then you go to your county convention and you tell them, I want to go to the state convention. Then you sign up right there to go to the state convention. That's how you become a delegate. You don't just do it through osmosis. You got to do something. You got to become a delegate. Then you got to get in there and raise hell and have your voice heard. One thing I want to tell you: if you happen to go to the state convention, we've got a little dilemma at the top level at the state party. That would be James Dickey and Colonel Alan West are running for chair of the Republican Party of Texas. I'm not going to tell you which way to vote. I'm just going to tell you that we need to change. If you can get James Dickey off in the corner somewhere, you better tell him to start going to the conservative side of the aisle, because if he don't, his butt's toast too. Alan West, I can't tell you. I know Alan and I know him okay, but I've got to sit down and look him in the eye and ask him some questions. I'm not just going to say, oh, I love Alan West, because I really don't know where he stands on a few issues. But I'll tell you what we do know. Our Republican Party of Texas co-chair, her name is Alma Jackson. Alma Jackson is one of us.
That's right.
She is absolutely one of us. We need to keep Alma Jackson. If a male is elected to the Republican Party chair, they've got to have a female for co-chair. We need Alma in Austin and all across the state of Texas for our co-chair, because she battles for us every day. So please, if you will, remember Alma Jackson. We're going to patriot to boot. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, Ray Myers. Now, somebody said take Who else do we have that we want to hear today? Got Andy? Oh, certainly Randy Beal. I promised Randy some mic time if he drove up today. Anyone else? Everybody's going to get heard today that wants to be heard.
That's what I was just going to say, that if anybody wants to come up here and talk after this gentleman or anybody else, you're more than welcome to come up.
Disavow.
And tell us what you think.
That's fine. Go home and burn all my shit.
Randy Beal is a friend of mine. He is a true patriot. He listens to the radio show on a regular basis. And every time we have an event, he is there. In fact, he goes to events that I don't go to.
I'm providing cover.
Doc and I have spent a lot of time behind the windshield.
I think you might.
Anyway, I'm Randy Bill. I live in Spring, Texas. I am
somebody
the
else.
director for a group called This is Texas Freedom Force. I know Open Carry Texas is familiar with us, but I'm not sure everybody else is. And since I am a director, I have been given the okay to speak at events, so that can be dangerous too. But our group is committed to protecting all things Texas. We are a monument protection group, and it doesn't matter what monument it is.
Amen.
It doesn't matter whether it's a 100-year-old monument or a 5-year-old monument. If the powers that be want to remove a monument permanently, we will take a stand on that. It all started with the cenotaph. George P.P. Bush and the powers that be in San Antonio thought it'd be a good idea to reimagine the Alamo. I can't imagine reimagining the Alamo. Yeah, it's good the way it is. I've made a few videos on that, and I stood in front of the San Jacinto Monument going, when is the San Jacinto Monument going to be moved? Because somebody's pissed off about something, or it's a racist monument, or whatever it is. I've been called them all. Anybody that knows me, I'm the farthest thing from that. I don't care what color you are, I don't care what party you belong to, there's right and there's wrong. We spend, I guess the first year, we're based out of San Antonio. Our president is there. And that's where all the battle was. They went to 87 city of San Antonio meetings discussing moving the cenotaph. And they were the bad guys out of it all. Antifa showed up to combat them. La Raza showed up to combat them. And I myself, and I'm not touting my own horn by any stretch, but during the 86 legislative session, which absolutely nothing got done, out of 14 weeks that our bills were being bannered, we were trying to get reps and senators to write a cohesive bill. I was up there 12 times in a row, and spent the night a couple of times. Sometimes I didn't. I stayed over to voice my opinion at Second Amendment bills that were going on, or in opposition to them. So I just wanted to say thanks to Open Carry Texas, because they throw their support behind us, and we throw our support behind them from day one. So if anybody's interested, go to txfreedom.org. That's our website. You can check us out. We're all good guys. We're all strong patriots. But we are one of the few organizations that has a following of 22,000 people that are trying to protect our monuments from leftist communists who want to erase that. We all know leftist communists, that's exactly what they do when they want to take over, is they try to destroy history. They tell you that a monument's not history, but it really is out of that. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank Open Passage for Texas for putting this on. Doc, Andy, I appreciate y'all.
All right, so on the way up here, Doc was saying I probably would have an opportunity to speak, so it was really an honor to be able to blow the shofar. But as a Marine veteran, I had two points. Number one, thank you for all the veterans that are here. Thank you so much. And this message that I'm going to share with you is mainly for those who aren't veterans that never had the opportunity to serve. So when I see a veteran go in the media saying they want to take away these weapons of war from the American people, it saddens me. Because, that was one of the highest honor. The Bible says that, if you lay down your life, for a friend, there's nothing greater than that, right? So even to become a Christian is a symbolized laying down of your life. But as a veteran, you've now signed a contract to do that. And I personally had a friend who was killed in Beirut in 1983. October 23rd, we lost 241 Marines and servicemen. It was the first modern Islamic attack in our country. And so that was something that inspired me. This man came from boot camp. I was 17 at the time. And when I saw him, I wanted to be like him. I was like, man, look at how sharp he is. Look at how disciplined he is. Look at the bearing that he had. What did the Marine Corps do to him to change him like that, right? And so even all the other services, the Army, the Coast Guard, you notice the people that sign up, not everybody gets to graduate, right? They don't make it to boot camp. They don't get to go to further training. But we all swore that oath. And so as I look at it, we swore that oath, and the American people gave us some awesome weapons to train with. We had some incredible, I got to shoot the 50 caliber machine gun, the M60 machine gun, Claymore mines, anti-tank weapons, anti-aircraft weapons, in boot camp. Awesome weapons. Why would I swear the oath to defend this Constitution and then try to disarm the American people that paid for that training? I'll never do that, right? So that's the message from a veteran. Now I want to talk to those that are in service. If you're in the military, you're in law enforcement, you have a duty. It's not a job. When someone says, oh, they show up at a scene, well, I'm just doing my job. No, that's not a job. It's a duty. And your duty is to protect the rights of the American people. And unfortunately, our pastors have not really focused on what the standard is. And the standard is the good centurion. And if anybody know the story of the good centurion in the New Testament? Okay. Jesus actually turned that dude around. He said, man, no greater faith in all of Jerusalem have I seen, or Israel. I forget the actual term. Now, if you know the story of the centurion, they were terrible. They were occupying force of the Hebrews. To be a centurion, I mean, you had to crack the whip. And so they were abusive. They didn't necessarily care. You know, they even had laws that you had to carry their armor a mile. Okay? What self-respecting warrior would make a civilian carry their armor? I mean, if I did that in the Marine Corps, I had a 60-pound Alice pack, they used to call it, and I almost quit. I almost quit in boot camp, man. It was really, I got up to this one mountain called Mount Mother Effer. I'm not going to say it, but it was notorious. And I just recently saw a picture of it. I didn't realize how steep that thing was. But when I got 3/4 of the way up, I'm like, what am I doing here? You know, but I started thinking about it. There's nobody going to come pick me up. So I had to go up the mountain. And thankfully, another Marine recruit pushed me up the mountain, and he had been recycling in boot camp twice. So I'm thankful to Private Baines for getting me up the mountain. But once I got up there, you know, those drill instructors congregated on me. Andy, what are you doing? Why are you trying to quit? No, sir, just taking a rest. Right? So anyway, if you're in service, the standard is the good centurion. Right? He was not abusive. He was not authoritarian. He was a member of the community. He connected with the people. And he told Jesus, like, look, all you have to do is say the word. I know that you're a man of leadership, right? So just say the word, my servant will be healed, right? So that's the standard. We need more good centurions to stand up and say, you know what? I'm not going to do that like Thomas Paine who spoke earlier. You know, it cost him his dad. She sacrificed. You know, I don't know what the result of that was. Ultimately, I'm sure his family had to deal with financial, you know, decisions to overcome the loss of income or whatnot. You know, but we need more men and women that are in service now to rise up and be a good centurion, right? That is the standard. And that's really all I wanted to share with you this afternoon is that story.
All right.
By the way, if you've not subscribed to my show on YouTube, please do that. Because we are trying to reach a lot of people, and right now, I'm kind of stalled at about 10,000 people a day. I'd like to get that up to 100,000. I need your help. I'm on RagingElePhantsRadio.com every day. I'm live on AmericanVoiceRadio.com every day. 2 full hours every day of my life that I devote to the liberty cause. And so I'm just asking you guys to please support that, listen, because I had several people today, well, why didn't you tell me you're having an event? I would have come. And I replied, I said, talk about it on the show every day. So some of my favorite people are here today. Who's going to speak next?
I think somebody else will.
Well, come on up. In his spare time, he's an engineer, but occasionally he just shows up, brings a flag, and speaks out on issues.
All right, Kenny.
I'm Kenny Wolfham, and the issue I'll start off with first is our dear Texas political figure, Beto O'Rourke.
Our foe.
We may not explain this whole come and take it thing properly to him, because he's probably only ever seen the cannon flag. So to make it more appreciable to him, I have the modern come and take the flag with an AR-15 on a giant paper straw, Texas-sized you might call it. So hopefully that'll get the point across to Mr. O'Rourke a little bit more effectively. Secondly, to speak for Open Carry Texas, I have to say I think we're winning, because I find it darn interesting that as soon as they can flex their muscle with 1 or 2 tragedies out of the whole entire nation to work with, the one thing the moms demand and the other movement groups are doing is they want to ban open carry in stores, but not try to ban the guns themselves. Now, some of you may realize there's a logical disconnect there, and that they don't have a problem with the gun, they just don't want to see it. And that means we're winning with our message that armed citizens have equal, if not greater rights than most police. So quite simply, as a bottom line, if the police can open carry somewhere, the citizens should be able to open carry somewhere, and that's what we need to drive home. And I'm not sure what the best way to resolve this with Walmart is, because they're probably going to implement 30.7 signs if it gets too bad. So what I've been doing, Bowie knife. It's a Texas favorite, and it kind of yells, "Y'all are idiots," to anybody who wants to have an issue with it. Of course, open to other suggestions if anybody has one for how to make Kroger, Walmart, and Aldi see it our way.
Stop shopping there.
Right. Well, I've been doing a lot of that as well, but whenever I do go in, such as today when I had to get some waters and was running late here already, that's what I did, was just bring in the movie night. Also on another messaging level, I'm currently president of Armed Citizen Project, which I'm trying to tie into Open Carry, Texas. So if y'all are interested in trying to help bring a more bipartisan approach to gun rights, check us out at armedcitizenproject.org. When we originally started a couple of years ago and were then stalled by tax issues, which we're finally on the verge of resolving, our goal was quite simple. We're going to find the people who are historically on the left, but are not really against us. They just think we're against us because they've had AR-15s, Glocks, and everything else demonized to them so long. So what we do, we raise funds, we buy quote-unquote non-controversial guns like Winchesters, pump-action shotguns, revolvers, and we actually give them out to people living in high-crime, low-income neighborhoods. And we have found that more than anything else, if you want our message to spread from one person to 2 people to 3 people to 4, give somebody a gun who's never had one before and let them actually experience what a constitutional right feels like in person.
Amen.
That's all I have.
All right.
Kenny Wolfman, once again, I want to thank you for all the stuff that you do for patriotism. You know, I just have to make an observation. Virtually everyone here is carrying multiple handguns and knives and grenade launchers, and no one has been shot. I'm starting to think maybe guns aren't the problem. It might be politicians.
What?
Yeah, weapons of war. Like, what other type of weapon would I want to own? Okay, let's talk some activism for a moment. Okay, I know that the reputation of the Libertarian Party of Texas is a bunch of weed smokers at the gay weddings of illegal aliens, but we do have a conservative branch, and one of ours is the mayor of Big Spring, Texas. And Big Spring, Texas is working on something right now, a Second Amendment sanctuary city. Now, there have been things like this that have been done previously, such as in Presidio County, but this is not a feel-good resolution. So, as part of this resolution, there's a couple of things that are unique and different about it, and I would suggest are worthy for your consideration in attempting to press this among other receptive political organizations. 1. This resolution declares the governor's executive orders and the bump stock ban to be among the unconstitutional acts which are nullified within the jurisdiction. 2nd, the chief of police is tasked with enforcing the resolution so that any attempt to enforce those unconstitutional edicts will cause the actor to be arrested and charged with official oppression under the Texas Penal Code. So instead of just a nothing, okay, feel good, we make a declaration, the chief of police, the chief of law enforcement officer of the jurisdiction is charged with enforcing the resolution. And as the conversation was relayed to me, the chief was saying, you gotta back me on this. You gotta back me on this. You gotta back me on this. You know what I'm saying? We're backing you, we're backing you, we're backing you. Okay? So we're trying to start that sort of conversation. So if you really want to send a message to people in Austin and Washington, D.C., and you don't want to wait until March, this is something you might want to consider doing. Thank you.
Once again, required reading on the Doc Green Show is the book We Defy by that man, Captain Tommy Attaway, and he's got a few copies today available. He'll autograph them for you at $10. Otherwise, you can go to Amazon and pay $20 for them, as you wish. Who else do we have that would like to speak today? Fred Snyder, Overpasses of America.
For America. Yeah, no, but for. One of the things when I lived in Chicago that I tried really hard to do And one of the reasons I came to Hearne is half the population of this town is African American. I like to say black. Okay? 92% of the black community votes Democrat. They have no idea what the history is of the party that is oppressing them. I've seen on the south and west side of Chicago, the black community turned into a war zone. You know this. You've got to talk to black, if you have black friends, you have to talk to them. If there's a black community near you, go into it and talk to them. Give them the history of the party that they're supporting. Because in 1854, the Dred Scott ruling, 7 Democrats said, hey, your property. 2 Democrats said, no, they're humans. 1866, there was a Civil Rights Act. Wouldn't pass, Democrats would not pass it. But the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the Constitution came from that 1866 Civil Rights Act. What else happened in 1866? The Ku Klux Klan was formed. Democrats, right? Now, I posted something, the San Francisco City Council last week said that the NRA was a domestic terrorist group. So I took a picture of the KKK and said, we the people declare the Democratic Party a domestic terrorist group, and Facebook didn't like that, put me in Facebook jail for 24 hours. Okay? But it's the truth. And PolitiFact, their fact checker, said, KKK is never part of the Democratic Party. So I made a post when I got out of Facebook jail, and I said, in the 1871 congressional record, the Democrats said, yep, the KKK is ours. They're the muscle arm of the party. It's in the congressional record, PolitiFact. So don't tell me that you can change history, because history is there for a reason. We hopefully learn from it. And I said in Chicago in 2014 with a black guy who I had been trying to contact for 2 years, finally got in touch with him, sat on a park bench with him for 3 hours talking. And he's a very powerful speaker, and he's a conservative Republican. And I said, Paul, you need to make a video. I said, you go to all these events, and you've got Rebel Pundit there, which is a video guy. I said, you need to make a video. So make a video. And in 2014, he put out a video in October, and within 2 weeks, it had 1.5 million views. We helped him get those 1.5 million views. And all they did was talk about how the Democratic Party has been oppressing them, and he's standing in front of a prison going, and all they want us is right here. This is what they want for us, is right here. And then he started yelling at me a week later, man, you're getting me in trouble. I said, hey, man, you're the man, do it. So you really got to address the black community, because I feel that we could change the government from foot to head if the black community would vote 30% Republican instead of 8%.
My polling shows they will vote 30% this time for Trump.
Well, see, though, last year, 2018, they still went and voted Democrat. Why do you think we have a Democratic House? In Illinois, in 2008, Barack Obama won Illinois massively. He won 2 counties out of 102 counties. He won Chicago, and he won East St. Louis. That's it. But he won the state, huge. And almost 98% of the black population voted for him, and the black population votes for Democrats. Which, I could go on about their history with black people. And they first started shifting in the 1930s with FDR saying, oh, New Deal, New Deal. But the New Deal didn't include black people. They didn't know that though. And I mean, when you see these so-called black Democrats, they're out there, oh, everybody's racist. Yeah, you're the racist. I mean, personally, I don't find, I've been called a racist in the last 6 years probably 1,000 times. I love black people. I want them to have everything everybody else has. But you can't do that if you're oppressing yourself with bad people representing you. So all I'm saying is if you know black people, or if you got the guts to go into the black neighborhoods, go in there and talk to them and tell them the history of the party that they are voting for 92% of the time. And if we can get the black community to just go 30%, Trump wins in a landslide. A lot of Democrats are out of office. A lot of rhinos are out. And as I said earlier, we put patriots into office. So come on, somebody here and talk. Are you seeing Mrs. Goldman? Yeah. It's open mic day.
We do have a lot of space out there. We can probably go ahead and set up some targets and have some practice, but that might get us in trouble, so maybe we won't do that.
Group photo, Doc. Group photo.
I beg your pardon?
Group photo. Group photo.
Come up here.
It's a group picture.
Boot camp. We do need to get a group picture. Yes, we do. Just as a demonstration, everybody that's here from Hearne, raise your hand.
Out-of-towners.
One. My point is, you guys came from all over the state. You guys are the real deal. You are the patriots. You are the ones that matter. You are the go-to people. And I salute every single one of you.
We're going to get a group photo. Are they over there? Terry and Megan? Oh, they're right here. Never mind. Hey, we're going to get a group photo, guys. Hey, y'all, we're going to get a group photo real quick. Yeah, I think so.
For an honest citizen with a weapon of any kind, including an A-10 Warthog, an M1 Abrams tank, an aircraft carrier, or a B-52, because the Second Amendment was designed so that you could own all of those weapons. The Second Amendment was designed so that any weapon of war that's ever been created could be purchased by anyone who could write the check and learn how to operate that weapon. The idea of hunting was not even a consideration.
That's right.
So I'm telling you that the Second Amendment is about weapons of war, and I need you to spread that message. Please, start listening to my show. 2 hours live every day, guys. I need you on board. We're just trying to coalesce and get this together. There should have been 10,000 people here today.
Oh, yeah.
We're just not reaching enough people, and that's what we've got to do. I want to thank Ray from coming over all the way from Kaufman County to be here today. God bless him. And there's plenty of other great stories we can tell about Wisconsin. But we are going to do the right thing. Thank you guys for coming. And see Tommy, if you need a book, I'd recommend you get that. I promise you it's a good read. If you don't think it's a good read, I'll buy it back from you for whatever you paid for it. So group picture, come on up here. Out in the grass. Okay, group picture in the grass. All you people with good cameras.
I know, my legs are killing me. Come on, you're getting in the picture too. I think if we're all standing up there and the people taking the picture right here, kind of going up, I think that'd be nice, wouldn't it? So everybody in the picture.
Yeah, backlight with the sun behind you.
Yeah, good point. So the person taking the picture, everybody get down over here then? All right. Oh, he's coming down.
Yeah, Joanne.
Come on, everybody. Terry, come on.
We had security on a bridge once because we had problems here.
Yeah.
And we had a black guy with a rifle, and this black woman, he says, you guys put him back. No, that's his gun. No, he doesn't have a gun. Yes, he does.
You get in front because you're short.
She didn't realize that it's not like that. You know what I mean?
All right, crunch up a little bit, guys.
Yeah, we got to squish in here, guys. Smash in.
Oh, guys, the front.
I'm kidding. Now get some cheeseburgers. Get some cheeseburgers.
Hell yeah, I was thinking.
All right, guys. So that's a wrap on this rally. Thank you to you guys who joined us for this. And we will be sure to go over to the Facebook page and follow Open Carry Texas. You can request to join the closed group, and we'll go ahead and you just make sure you answer the 3 questions that are on there whenever you want to join the group. There are 3 questions that are on there, so make sure you answer those 3 questions, and don't just answer yes, 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 because I'll disapprove you, and so will others. So make sure you go join that to stay up to date on the whereabouts of rallies. Go to opencarrytexas.org. You can buy gear, you can donate, you choose your caliber that you're most comfortable at coming in at. And if you've got any questions, you can email me, Greg, at opencarrytexas.org. You can email straight to me. You can also email Andy or Terry. You can email David, Ahmad. You can also email Rick Briscoe at opencarrytexas.org. Either one of us will answer any questions you might have. So again, thank you guys for being with us today, and you guys stay armed, stay vigilant, and be safe.
Howdy.
Howdy. Greg, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Just wanting to